This is the Art of the Day portion of class. We'll be doing the Art of the Day uh, every class from now, pretty much through the end of the semester. Today's presentation is by Alexa Hernandez, and I think she did a pretty great job. The other presentation is something that I threw together myself. I had assigned a a presentation on Robert Longo, and the student that received that assignment dropped out of the class, which happens. But I think that he's such a great artist that I want to make sure I got that in for you. This week there's only 2 presentations. Other weeks there will be 3 presentations. But let's get started. Vic Muniz by Alexa Hernandez. Biography. Vic Muniz is Brazilian. He was born on December 20th, 1961 in Sao Paulo, Brazil. He is an only child. His mother was a waiter and his father was a telephone operator. He is 58 years old. Education. At the age of 14, a math teacher encouraged him to enter to an art contest. He won and got a partial scholarship to an art studio. Muniz discovered art through books that he would read and get in school. In 1979, he attended college at, I don't speak Portuguese, but Fundação Armando Alvarez Penteado in Brazil. He enrolled in a publicity and advertising course. His early life. In 1983, he got shot in the leg for trying to break up a fight. He didn't press charges and instead got money and accepted it. With the money, he moved to Chicago in 1983. Traveled to New York in 1984 and moved there after that. He got jobs while in New York in the theater industry. That was until New York City artists saw his artwork in a frame and got in contact after that. After meeting artists and going to openings, he ended up renting a studio in the Bronx where he began to produce sculptures and objects. His career. In 1988, Muniz exhibited his work for the first time. After that, he sold his first pieces and began exhibiting frequently in the United States and Europe. In the 1990s, he began to incorporate casual everyday materials into photos. He was mostly known for his materials, which included dust, diamond, sugar, dry pigment, ketchup, caviar, and wire. In 1997 to 2016, dedicated to make paintings, photographies, and he's kept doing exhibitions. This is an interesting sculpture. I've never seen of his before. Clown skull. That is creepy. So this is a quote from artists, from, I guess, different critics. So this quote, Vic Muniz is a wonderful treat. For those who know his work, it's an opportunity to bask in this adventurous artist's incredible range and humanity. For those who don't know him, his exhibition of 25 years of output is a wonderful introduction to this cool, brainy, loopy artist expanding your mind, even as he's making you laugh. Felicia Feister, Atlanta, News Now. Muniz displays an intense analysis of subject and medium, heightening his iconic source materials to reveal new meaning for a contemporary audience. I like those quotes. They're very they're very sort of hype, or like providing hype around him. Curious what artists might or critics might say that could be a little different or more critical of his work. All right, so in Alexa's opinion, my opinion on Vic Muniz's artwork is that he is a great artist. He knows how to create photographs with unexpected materials that catch the eye. I also like how some artworks are made up of little items that relate to the big picture. it adds more detail. The fact that he uses unexpected materials makes the artwork slash photographs so much more intriguing and makes the artwork stand out. So what you might not realize, students might not realize, is that this image on the left is it's a photograph, but it's a photograph of what is probably a famous painting, because that's what he does. But it's made up of a bunch of different things, like a collage. So this is probably collaged paper. This is a really interesting drawing. Medusa's Mariners, 1997. This is, again, there should be sort of the medium and material in here, but I think I can speculate as to what's going on. What we're looking at is actually spaghetti that's spread around on a plate or some sort of food. And it is essentially a drawing by moving food around. Apollo and Diana, after Lucas Cranach, Pictures of Junk. So what we're looking at is a photograph, but this photograph is of junk. If you can see, there are tires here. And then furniture, appliances, things like that. We're looking at garbage that is arranged on the floor maybe, and what he's doing is reproducing an image that he found somewhere else. So the reason why he's in this presentation or in this week, the drawing week, is because I'm equating his arrangement of objects to drawing. Self-portrait looks like this is made from perhaps stickers. This is one of his famous pieces. Well, what did she write? 2008, Marat. Muniz persuades workers from the garbage pickers outside of Rio de Janeiro to help him structure portraits to show the world photographs of the Brazilian society. So what he did is he reproduced a famous painting. And I'll show you some of that after the presentation. Anatomy after Francesco Bertinati. I'm not sure what this is made out of. This is a famous photograph of an artist named Jackson Pollock. And this artwork, Vic Muniz actually reproduced the photograph by drizzling chocolate onto its surface. Look how small this furniture is and this junk. This is a big arrangement, big pile of trash that he arranged to make this portrait. Self-portrait as an Oriental after Rembrandt from Pictures of Junk series. (1996) Valentina the Fastest. Sugar Children's series. He took a trip to the Caribbean and he learned about the harsh conditions of the sugar plantation. He was intrigued by the children's happiness but sadness to the parents. Well, this is a drawing. It might have been done on black paper where he just scraped and arranged sugar on the paper, and then he photographed that. A portrait of Barack Obama. Says pictures of a magazine. So this is a collage. Brooklyn Bridge. Postcards from nowhere. Looks like a collaged image made with postcards. Black Marilyn, 2004. Muniz created this image of Marilyn Monroe from diamond dust placed against a black background. Wow, isn't that incredible? I think that Vic Muniz is a great artist, and I think that this is a pretty good presentation. Thank you very much, Alexa. I want to show real quick a few of the artworks that he is referencing. Well, let's talk about this one. I'm not sure. Medusa painting. Here we go. This is called Medusa by the artist Caravaggio, 1598. Isn't that crazy how that painting is reproduced with spaghetti on this plate? How about this famous painting? I believe it's called The Death of... It might be the... Oh, there we go. The Death of... I'll try Marat. Yeah. So The Death of Marat. This is a famous painting. I don't remember who painted it. David. Jacques-Louis David. So this is a famous painting. And so I believe what Alexa was explaining is that this comes from a source image where the artist was able to place Vic Muniz was able to place a garbage picker or collector into a photograph, and he photographed the garbage picker and then recreated that photograph in garbage. Let's see if there's another one. Let's look at the Jackson Pollock, the image of him drizzling paint. What would I call that? Drizzling paint photo. Well, this is not the same image, but this is one of those images taken of Jackson Pollock. You see the the bucket in his hand here and here, and he's throwing paint on the canvas. I think that this is really cool. All right, let's move on to the next artist of the day. Like I said, the person that this was assigned to ultimately dropped the class, but I think that this artist is so cool and very important, and I really want you guys to know about him. His name is Robert Longo. He was born in the 1950s. I want to say about 1953. And he was first famous for drawings such as this. So this is charcoal and graphite on paper. And there's another similar. This isn't a drawing. This is a lithograph. And what a lithograph is essentially an image that's able to be reproduced. So there are multiples of this out there. But what's interesting about these is that in the 1980s, coming out of the 70s and in the early 80s, the artist Robert Longo was living in New York City, and he knew, as an artist, he was part of the underground punk scene. I don't know if you've heard of the Ramones, CBGB's, The Venue, bands like this, and punk was very popular in Manhattan, and there was this dichotomy going on. It was both popular, but there was also all these Wall Street types that were essentially living right next door and going to work in these $1 million suits. And so he was interested in the mosh pits and the dancing done by the punk rockers, and he was able to dress some of these people up in the suits of the Wall Street workers and draw them, and it looks like, as they're dancing, and it looks like they're sort of falling in space with their contorted bodies. This is an artwork that I wasn't so familiar with by him, but this was painted right around the same time as those, and drawn right around the same time as those drawings of what's it called? Men. This was made right around the time of the big drawings that he did. But this is a mix between sculpture and drawing and painting. So this whole thing is done in two parts. From top to bottom, it measures like 9 feet, 9.5 feet. And so it's tall and it's wide. It's about 8 feet wide. But then it sticks out. It comes towards you about 3 feet. So what we're looking at here is a sculpture that's actually coming towards you. So this is a building that is sort of protruding, and it's coming 3 feet towards you. So you can't really walk close to the artwork. But then in the lower half is a drawing of graphite and ink and charcoal, but then he painted on top of that drawing to get like the face paint on this figure. This is another mixed media sculpture / wall piece that he made, which is painted wood and screen print and aluminum. Now these are the drawings that I really like. This is some of his more current stuff. This one called Russian Bomb, 2003. I showed it a little bit ago during the drawing presentation. But this is huge. It is over 8 feet tall and it's almost 6 feet wide. And it's so beautiful. Here's another one of his drawings of riot police. Now this was drawn in 2009, so I suppose not part of current events. But this is 16 inches wide, tall, and 20 inches long. So by most artists' standards, this is not a small drawing. This is maybe an average drawing, but it is the size of, it is so much smaller than the big bomb painting, or I'm sorry, drawing, charcoal drawing. This is another smaller drawing. This is called Study for Forest Light. It's just so crazy to me how photorealistic this looks. How creepy it is. This is a drawing. Again, this also looks like a photograph, but this is a drawing of a statue wrapped in plastic. So, untitled, parentheses, Statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee covered, Charlottesville, Virginia, August 12, 2017. So that's the title. And then it was drawn in 2018, and this is just charcoal on paper. Very photoreal, but also it's very big. So this is 10 feet tall and 8 feet wide. And when you're drawing so big, yeah, it's easier to make it look good because there's room to put those details in. But this is pretty great. I like this drawing as well. This is a drawing of Jamal Khashoggi. I don't know if you follow the news, but he was a figure in the news 2 years ago. And we won't get into that. But this is a really great drawing. I love that he added these horizontal lines to it, showing the speed and the fuzziness. A giant drawing. And this is a drawing of a defaced Jewish cemetery in Strasbourg, France, December 14th, 2018. Again, charcoal on paper and another huge drawing. So realistic. So realistic. I really love it. This is an installation view, so you get to see how big those drawings really are. So those drawings, the statue, the dude Jamal Khashoggi, and the defaced cemetery, those are all part of a show that was called Fugitive Images that was installed in New York City late last year, early this year. That's it for my presentation on Robert Longo. If you haven't figured it out, I think he's a great artist, and my interpretation, or not my judgment of the work is that there's a lot of heavy content in some of his work, but I think that when you look at it together, it really comes together in meaningful and powerful ways. Also, I think that he has a really great technical ability for drawing. That's it for the Art of the Day presentations. Expect that next week there will be 3 presentations. But thank you, Alexa, for doing the work, and it was a good presentation. And your quiz that you'll be taking this week is on the Art of the Day presentations, but also on the class lecture. And then don't forget to watch the first video, which is an introduction to the exam, not the exam, the museum visit essay, and also your drawing project, which is assigned today, and it is due at the end of the week.